First is you could admit responsibility to the citation. Or two, admit responsibility, but you'd like to provide some sort of explanation to court as to how or why this happened. Or three, you wish to contest this citation. In other words, fight the ticket at what we call informal hearing. What were you looking to do?
Number two.
Okay. And what is it you'd like to tell me?
Your Honor, I'd like to explain what happened that day when I received the citation. I was in the left lane passing a slower moving vehicle, and I did increase my speed briefly in order to pass and merge back into the right lane. But I was not driving recklessly. I was pulled over shortly after by the officer who was originally traveling the opposite direction and made a U-turn on that highway. Given the circumstance and nearby traffic, I'm not even sure the speed he clocked was mine. I thought I was pulled over because at the time I did not have my license plate attached to the back. It was in my front seat. So I was not aware of getting pulled over for speed. I just thought it was my car needing the identification. During the stop, the officer did conduct the conduction or the interaction made me uncomfortable. He questioned several times about alcohol and drugs, despite there being no evidence. He kept pressuring that, so that kind of made me like really scared. But he did peer through my windows of the car. The car is brand new, so there's really nothing there. I've never been in trouble before. I have a really good driving record. I do take driving seriously. I lost my brother to a reckless driver. I'm just asking the court to just please take the circumstances into consideration when reviewing the citation.
Okay. Well, ma'am, if you contested the citation, I would hear evidence and decide whether or not you were responsible or not. You're admitting responsibility to the citation, so I can't change the nature of your ticket. Now, lots of times what people, when they come in here, what they're concerned about is getting points on their license. Do you know what I mean by that?
Yes.
Is that what you're concerned about?
I'm concerned about the points and the amount. I'm just concerned about it all, Your Honor. Like, this is my first ticket I'm trying to fight.
Well, first of all, the officer didn't write you a ticket for going 88 and a 70. The trooper gave you a break and wrote you the second wimpiest ticket he could write you. I think this is only a 1-point ticket. But here's what I'll explain to you about points. I'm not going to give you points on this. The trooper didn't give you points on this. Points don't come from us. All right, that fines and costs is the only penalty. Now, points come from Secretary of State. Secretary of State court, two different animals. They can't tell me what to do. I can't tell them what to do. Okay. But here's what I would say about points. First of all, points die a natural death every 2 years. So if you want to, just outweight this point and it will go away after 2 years. But maybe more to the point, if this is what concerns you, is there's a way for you to get rid of that point. But all I can do is explain to you how to do it for yourself. I can't do it for you. But are you curious?
I am curious. I'm also curious to know if I don't know, like this is my first time. I'm not sure if I'm doing this right. Trying to fight it. I'm just agreeing with the officer. I honestly don't even remember that day how much speed I went, because like I said, he was traveling opposite and there was multiple cars. And he was behind.
Well, here's a couple of things I would tell you. First of all, we do not mind people coming in here and essentially saying, look, I don't know what I'm doing, but I want to see what happens. And this is what I want. The first thing first is, when you're telling me I thought I got pulled over for no plate, that doesn't make a lot of sense, because the trooper, if he's coming at you the opposite way, he wouldn't know you didn't have a plate on the back of your car. So to spin around on you and pull you over is probably for a moving violation. Well, the other thing is, what's that?
I am so sorry, Your Honor. You can finish. I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to cut you off.
The other thing is, most of the people don't realize just how far away that they're getting radared by that. So in other words, it would be the opposite direction radar in the front of the trooper's vehicle. Yes, you likely got radared when you were passing someone, and that's why it was 88. I will tell you this, though. The actual law is you still can only go up to the speed limit to pass somebody. That's how slow somebody's supposed to be going for you to pass them. You were allowed to go up to 70 to pass, but passing is not an exception to the speeding rule. You still only can go the speed limit. But like I said, If you don't remember how fast you're going, the trooper's testimony would have been, of course, that his radar said 88 and then he checked his radar. So if you had had a hearing, I likely would have found you responsible, but here we are sort of on the back end. But
Okay.
here's what I can tell you about points. On the Secretary of State's website, they have something called the Basic Driver Improvement Course. It's a safe driving quiz that you take online. I can't imagine it's very hard. It just takes up some of your day. Here are the 3 rules for it. You can't be a CDL driver, right? That means driving the big rigs. You're not driving the big rigs, right? 2, you can't be carrying more than 2 points on your license already. You wouldn't be because you said I got this good driving record before this. And 3, you can't have taken this test before to get rid of points, which I don't imagine you have before. You don't get to keep using this trick, but if you go to the Secretary of State's website and you take that basic driver improvement course, the carrot they give you is they'll remove the points from any one moving violation, which is what this is. So you have the opportunity to make it 0 points, but you have to jump through those hoops yourself. I can't do it for you. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
All right. So otherwise, all that's left for you to do is, for us here on this ticket, is to call the district court to make arrangements to pay that fines and costs. And the point will either go away after 2 years, or you can make it go away if you want to take those steps. All right?
All right. I do have a question. If we're able to pull the footage of that day, because the officer did say his camera was on. And when I was passing the car, he wasn't behind me like right away. It was a few miles down the road, and then he went behind me. So that's why I thought it was my license, not the
I will
speed.
let the trooper correct me, but when they say that, the camera comes on when they turn on lights and sirens. So it wouldn't have been on coming at you when it caught you speeding, and then he looped around on you, and then if to pull you over, he put his lights on. That's the camera footage he'd have, not of the speeding incident.
Can he pull that's so difficult. That's since there is no proof and he said I was going 88 and I'm just agreeing to it. What do I do, Your Honor?
Well, you could fight the ticket, but like I said, I know what his testimony is going to be, and your testimony is going to be, I really don't know how fast I was going. So
But
there's not much.
You just said he didn't have. You just said that there was the radar he can't prove that radar was my car when he was trying.
Ma'am, that's sort of a misunderstanding. Proof comes in many different forms, right? Now, if he had video footage, right, that would be one type of proof. But his testimony is in fact proof, because he would be under oath and he would testify as to your speed. That is proof.
And for mine, can I be under oath and testify?
You would be under oath as well, but your proof would be, I really don't know how fast I was going. I just don't think I was going that fast. Which one of those 2 proofs sounds more firm and that I would go with at the end of the day?
Well, I would go with mine because the officer was really traveling the opposite direction. And I know I'm a safe driver. That's why I said I don't know. And that's why I was so confused when he pulled me over, was because
Ma'am, would you like to have a hearing?
If that's possible, yeah, I think I would.
All right. So, Trooper, if you would go ahead and raise your right hand.
Yes, sir.
Ms. Aguilar, go ahead and raise your right hand.
I apologize about the video as well. I'm having connectivity issues.
That's all right, as long as I can hear you. You swear or affirm any testimony you give here today would be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
All right. Ms. Aguilar, it makes a lot more sense for me to start with the trooper. He has the burden to establish to me why you were issued a citation in the first place. But after that, you'll have an opportunity to either ask questions or testify on your own behalf, all right?
Okay.
And with that, Trooper, if you want to pick up the narrative somewhere where it makes sense, explain the issuing of this citation.
Yes, sir. I'd like the court to know, to start off, that I'm a certified MCOLS radar operator. The unit that I was using on the day that I issued the citation is certified by the state of Michigan radar unit. The radar unit that I was using is affixed to my patrol car dash. And I verified the working condition of the radar at the beginning and end of my shift, as I do every single day. On this specific day, on April 4th of 2025, approximately 7:49 a.m., in the county of Allegan, township of Gunplain, I was actually working stationary radar patrol. in the median just north of 106th Ave. I was facing oncoming traffic, so southbound traffic, while my patrol car was facing northbound. While doing so, I activated my stationary radar, opposite direction radar, at which time I observed a white Nissan passenger car pass through the operational range or beam of my radar. At this time, I observed the vehicle traveling 88 miles an hour in a 70-mile-per-hour zone, and subsequently initiated a traffic stop of the vehicle and identified the driver as Miss Aguilar. And after a brief investigation, issued a citation for 6 to 10 over rather than the 18 over that I observed her traveling. I would like the court to know that my radar unit was free of any obstructions. The vehicle that I was tracking was the vehicle being driven by Miss Aguilar. I know that because as the vehicle passed through the operational range of my radar, I heard an audible tone corresponding with the speed. And then once the vehicle passed through the operational range of my radar, the tone ceased to exist. So I'm confident the target vehicle was the vehicle that I stopped, and the driver of the vehicle was the driver that I issued the citation to.